this is our channel, Life After Leaping. There's some things we wanted to talk about in this video. First being a little bit about the process for applying for visas. And the second part of the video, we want to go through a few things that went wrong when we were trying to make the move here, which took a year. It took a year for us to make this move. With the visa process, there was a lot of research that goes into it, and there's so many things you want to do before you even begin to apply for a visa, which I would say for us, a big part of that was simplifying, because we couldn't even afford to apply for the visas until we had sold.
Yeah, because we wouldn't have qualified.
We wouldn't have qualified. Like, one of the big things in applying for visas, particularly here in Portugal, is that you have to have a year of savings, a year of Portuguese minimum wage per person in your family, in addition to whatever income requirements, depending on the visa that you're applying for. So we didn't have that, and I dare say a lot of people don't, unless they're retiring or they're digital nomads. So we had to come up with the funds, and the biggest way that we did that was by selling our belongings. We sold our furniture, we had sold all of our farm animals, and then we also needed new passports because ours had expired during COVID. We had done so much traveling prior to that, and then during COVID, obviously, we didn't go anywhere. In fact, the first flight we did was to apply for our visas. We hadn't traveled in a while.
Our daughter's first flight?
Yeah, Ravenna hadn't even. And that's actually another really good point. When you're applying for visas, you apply in the region that you live. And since we're from the West Coast of the US, we had to apply in San Francisco. So we had to make an appointment. It took months to get the appointment, weeks to get the appointment, months to do the appointment. And then you wait probably 2 to 3 months for a response.
We were about 3 months.
We were about 3 months before we got a response on our application. So it's a pretty lengthy process. And then while we're waiting, while we're doing all of this, things are going wrong one after the other. It starts off like, okay, we'll just get all the paperwork together and submit it, which in and of itself took months. But then I would say right about summer, the kids were getting out of school and we decided to list our house. So we started doing showings, and we're thinking, oh, this is going to go fast. The house is going to sell. We'll find temporary housing and then we'll be out of here. And we were thinking we were going to have way more available to us financially than we actually ended up having. We had all these plans, and so it started with the house. We went to sell it, and it was on the market for a while, and we didn't end up selling it, which was surprising. We'll probably include a picture or a video of what it looked like. Super cute little farmhouse that we built. It's brand new. So we were kind of surprised that it didn't sell fast. And we ended up renting it last minute, which worked out great. And then the next thing that happened was my grandmother had passed away previously, like I think the year before. We were anticipating getting an inheritance, myself and several other family members, and then come to find out the amount that we ended up getting was significantly less than what everyone was expecting. They had a bunch of land that they owned there, and come to find out, a lot of it had already been sold, and we didn't know. That was another huge surprise, because we thought, oh, we'll have this and that'll be a big comfort, but no, we did not. So,
and when we found out was at the very end of the process.
Right, we already had our visa approvals.
We had the visa approval, we had already gotten tenants for the house, we had just signed our lease with the tenants, and we had also, it'd been so far in the process with the inheritance that it's not at the point that you would think that it could change like this.
Yeah. And so basically there was no backing out of what our plans were, after finding out that we weren't going to get it. And then the the income that we had planned, that didn't happen. So we had income that we had planned, kind of location independent income that we had set up, and that ended up falling through at the last minute. that was really intimidating because it was too late to really make any changes or back out of our plans. And we just decided, you know what, we're going to move forward with it and see what happens. And
the order of events were interesting because we signed the lease. The next day we found out that the inheritance was significantly less.
Yeah.
So it was like we were committed to go at that point because we weren't going to be out of a house.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was after we found out that we didn't have the inheritance that it was confirmed that what we had set up for remote income was gone. It fell through as well. So it was a lot all at once after we kind of had already committed to coming.
Right. And then the last huge thing that happened was I found out right around actually the weekend of our anniversary. We decided to go away for the weekend, and I found out I was pregnant. So that was a huge surprise. I've never had an unplanned pregnancy. Both of our kids we planned. Mm-hmm. We were shocked, and we thought, what are we going to do? Are we going to stay here, or are we going to move forward and just have our baby in Portugal? And that's pretty much what we decided. But then probably about a month after we found out that we were pregnant, because I'd had a couple of doctor's appointments where I had seen the heartbeat. Mm-hmm. And then I went back in for another appointment, and I just had a weird feeling, and I asked the doctor to do an ultrasound, and she couldn't find the heartbeat. So I actually had to go in for a procedure, and I'll share some footage of that day. I actually did a video of our drive into the hospital that day. We're going in for the D&C. Yeah. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. And how do you feel?
I don't know. And it was an unexpected pregnancy, and worked on getting my head around the fact that we were going to have a third because our youngest is 4, so we were out of diapers there. And just as I'm starting to get my head around that we were going to have another is when we got the news that there was no more heartbeat. So right now the focus is just getting everything taken care of. It needs to be taken care of Mo. We had unfortunately told the kids that we were expecting, so they were excited, so I had to break the news to them about that. But that's about it. Just trying to get through today, start to focus on our move.
And yeah, that was a huge unexpected situation. Then of course there were medical bills to follow. So we were already tight on funds, and then we had these unexpected medical bills that we had to pay. And mind you, this is all a month before we are flying out, because the procedure was November 1st and we flew out the first week of December. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot. And this process is not for the faint of heart. Mm-hmm. I mean, we are really glad that we did it. And things have been going relatively well. It's not without its challenges. It's not all sparkles and rainbows for sure. Like, we're really glad that we took those leaps anyway, even though things were really hard. And I'm sure for anybody else that's tried to make a big life change like this, you get it, you know what it's like. And for anybody that wants to try it, you can just mentally prepare yourself for the possibilities and know that things can still turn out great, regardless of the challenges that you might come up against. It really does refine you. And I feel like it puts you in a different frame of mind, because you just start to kind of process things differently as you experience challenges that you've never really faced before. I feel like it's given us a totally different perspective of things, especially as parents. Because you're always wondering, am I doing the right thing for my kids? And giving them some new experiences and how will this affect them? Will they look back and be glad that we made these decisions? And some of it is necessary to think about, and other things you just can't know. We do check in with them and we ask, oh, are you guys happy? Do you like this? Do you like that? What do you think? I mean, and they're still really young, but we definitely feel like it's one of those things that it's worth giving a try.
Yeah. You're not going to make a big life change like this without experiencing unexpected things. But I agree, like, putting yourself in completely different circumstances, you look at life a little differently, or very different. Because I mean, how much time were we spending where we were apart? I was at work, kids were at school. You were busy taking care of the house and everything else, the animals.
Yeah.
And it's just the way that your time is spent is very different. So you learn a lot. You learn a lot in a very short time.
I remember reading something once, someone said, and they were just like, if you have a goal, like, you should run so heedlessly towards it that people think that you're crazy, because it takes a little bit of craziness to reach big goals. And that really stuck with me, because there were a number of times we thought, are we crazy to do this? Especially when things started going wrong, and you know, we're planners and we thought this is going to be great. Like, it's going to be comfortable, and you kind of have to be comfortable, or at least accepting of the uncomfortable, because it doesn't stay comfortable for sure.
No. And I mean, I think it's important to note, like, clearly we're happy here, but all of those things that were potential exit ramps or roadblocks to get here, which several times we really considered. I mean, now that we're here, neither of us would change the decision to move forward. Like,
Definitely.
No matter what or how long we're able to experience this, the experience is worth it. The adjustment and the focus of our lives was worth it.
Yeah.
And it's been great so far.
I agree. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
So the quote that I couldn't remember was, when you have a setback, go forward anyway. When things don't look exactly how you planned them or pictured them, to just have courage anyway, and to run so heedlessly towards your dreams that people call you crazy, because it takes determination and maybe even a little insanity to bring big things to life. And those are exactly the things that are worth fighting for.